Bob and Matt for their hard work and their dedication to the Lions organization over the past several years. They're both very fine men, and we wish them nothing but the best in the rest of their careers. Obviously, this season has not gone the way we expected. For the remainder of this season, Daryl Bevel will be our interim coach. I expect Daryl and our team to play hard and compete in our remaining 5 games. Our football executives, including Kyle O'Brien, Lance Newmark, Rob Lohman, and Mike Disner, will report directly to Rod Wood for the balance of this season as we analyze our organizational structure and evaluate candidates for our general manager position. To our loyal fans, we know this has been a challenging year for everyone. Not having our fans around to support our team has been difficult for all of us. Football this season has looked and felt different, but it doesn't change the fact that we play for you. As I said in my opening press conference, I will do everything I can to put a winning team on the field for our fans in the city of Detroit. Unfortunately, we haven't won enough over the last 3 seasons, and our efforts to find the right leadership for the Lions begins today. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Okay, we will start with Mike O'Hara for the first question.
Okay, Mrs. Hamp, I wonder what, obviously you didn't like what was going on there. I wonder how much the last 5 days, the loss to Carolina, the loss to Houston, when you really had a chance to maybe at least mathematically stay in the playoff race, if that was the last straw, really.
Honestly, yes. 10 days ago, we looked like we had a good chance to be playoff bound. And, both of those games were extremely disappointing. And it just seemed like the path going forward wasn't what we wanted it to be. So, yes, we thought this was a good time to make the change.
And just the other part of it, that we go back to the statement last, I believe, December, when, expectations and meaningful games in December. Do you think you're sending a message that you kept your word by what you said then, that this you're not going to tolerate what's happened in the last whatever period of time you want to make it?
Yes, hope so. I meant what I said last December, and I still mean it. So yes, things were not going well. It was not what we wanted. We were hoping to be playoff bound. I still guess we still have a slight mathematical chance, but things were just not seeming to go in the right way.
All right, thanks, Sheila.
Thank you.
We'll go Dave Burkett.
Hi, Dave.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for your time. 2 things for you. Just first, in your mind, how do you see the power being structured going forward? I guess, is this still going to be a GM, top-down organization, I guess, or could a head coach have the authority?
We're going to look at it all. We haven't made that decision yet. Some of it will probably have to do with the candidates we're looking at and how that would play out. But we're open. We have not set that structure.
And then part 2 of that, when you sort of outline what you're looking for in both a coach and a GM, I guess, to your search firm or whoever's helping you with the search, what are the attributes that are, most important to you in each position?
Well, again, that's not completely defined yet. All that, I promise you, we are going to do extremely thorough and comprehensive search for both positions. And yes, we have some ideas on what we're looking for, but again, not clearly defined. I have a feeling today you're going to have a lot more questions than I'm going to have answers to, but so I'll do the best I can. But
fair enough. We'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks then about it.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll go Michael Rothstein, ESPN.
Hi, Michael.
Hey, Sheila, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Thanks for taking the
Not
time.
too shabby.
Thanks for taking the time. Siri's being weird. Just to clarify something, will you all be using any sort of search firm to help with this process?
Again, we're open. We've talked about that. We probably will. We're going to be talking to a lot of people and using a lot of resources simultaneously. We're not going to just rely on one avenue. There are going to be several things we're doing.
What was there a moment for you where you realized this had to happen? Where not only just Matt, but Matt and Bob.
Well, it's hard. It was a hard decision just because, as I said, they're both terrific people. They've worked very hard and tirelessly for this organization. It clearly wasn't working. It wasn't what we had hoped for when we hired them, and so I don't know if there was an exact moment. It's something we've been thinking about for several weeks and going back and forth and deciding, but clearly the last couple of games had a lot to do with it.
Did you look at them as one package when it came down to this?
We looked at it from all angles.
Okay, we go
I appreciate it. Thanks, Sheila.
Corey Woods with Woodward Sports.
Hello, Corey.
Hi, how you doing? I have a question for you. I know you said that right now it's too early to talk about the coaching search, but will you be looking in the professional or the college ranks for the next head coach?
Again, we're going to be looking at everything.
Justin Rose, WXYZ.
Hi, Sheila. Good afternoon.
Hello, Justin.
Just curious, did this, when you came into this coming season, obviously, you can look back on different things, but did you think about maybe making a move before this season? Or was there the one more pitch effort from Matt and Bob, or how did you guys come to the determination to give them one more year?
Well, as I said last year in December, last year was an unusual season also. We seem to be stacking up unusual seasons for different reasons. But, we had hoped that this year, the third year, things would gel and, the Matt's process and his coaching ability and everything would come together in a good way. And then it just became clear that it wasn't working.
And as you look to the next chapter here, is it important to have somebody come into place who understands the franchise's history and knowing that, just everything that comes along with the Detroit Lions and trying to turn it around in a way that they can't ignore the past, but almost embrace it and move forward?
We can't hide our past, that's for sure. But I think, I'm very dedicated to turning this ship around and really making a difference. And hopefully, we won't have to look back very much. We'll just look forward.
Thanks, Sheila. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Same to you.
John Macaroon with SI.
Hi, John. How are you?
Sheila, thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it. I'm well. I wanted to ask you about Matthew Stafford. He's been here now for 12 years, and for whatever reason and whatever his level of responsibility, he just hasn't had the success with the team. So after your review of everything, is the organization still wanting to commit to him long-term, or do you think it's time to look for a future quarterback for someone to lead this football team?
Well, since I'm not the coach, I'm probably not the right person to ask that question to. So we'll see what the new coach has to say.
Just as a quick follow-up, just been your assessment of his time here, his 12 years here leading this football team.
I think he's extremely talented young man, and he's tough as nails. And, it's been tough for him. But, again, I think coaches will make that decision.
Brad Galley, WXYZ.
Hi, Brad.
Hi, I appreciate the time, and I appreciate you honestly saying that you don't have as many answers as maybe we're all seeking, but one I think you will be proud to answer would be this one. For Lions fans that are curious of why this time will be different, what is the answer you have for them and for us?
Well, again, Brad, as well as I do, there are no guarantees. All I can say is, I'm going to work as hard as I can along with Rod, and we are going to make this an extremely thorough and comprehensive search, and we're going to do the very best we can.
Was it concerning as Matt's tenure started here and players were quick to make public the culture that had been created here, whether it was publicly or as a unnamed player? Did that concern you, your family, and the leadership group throughout the Lions throughout his time in Detroit?
Are you asking me, was his leadership style a problem, or
Yes. Was that concerning at all when those remarks were especially made public by players?
You know, players are going to have different ideas. Some players are going to be, think one way, some are going to think another. Not really, no. I mean, hoping that that it was going to all pull together. And I think in many ways, I think we've got a really talented team, or a talented team, and I think we should have come together better than we have. And so I guess, we just felt like the leadership wasn't getting that job done.
Thanks.
Larry Lage, AP.
Hi, Larry. How are you?
I'm good, Sheila. As you look forward to the next steps, I know you don't have all the answers, but the NFL has often lent its help in one way or another. Will you lean on the league and its resources as you make these important decisions?
Again, we're going to lean on all sorts of resources, and the league will probably be one of them. There's, Rod and I too, but Rod particularly have some really terrific relationships there. And so we'll ask questions of them and put together a list of other people that we want to talk to. I say we're going to do a comprehensive, it'll be a very comprehensive process, and we're going to talk to a ton of people.
Thank you.
And we have time for 3 more questions. Chris Burke, The Athletic.
Hello, Chris.
Hey, Sheila, thanks for the time.
Yeah.
You said in June, I think it was, when we talked to you last, that you really wanted to get hands-on and dive into all aspects of the organization, especially the ones you didn't know as well. I guess I'm just curious how far along in that process you are. I'm sure this isn't what you wanted to take on 5 months into your first year as principal owner, but how far along in that process are you, and how much maybe did it impact the timeline for these decisions?
Okay, well, as you know, Chris, this has been a very strange year. And COVID's prevented a lot of, hands-on things that I would have done normally or hope to do in the future. I've had some Zoom meetings with different areas in the organization, wish I could have talked to them more in person, but started a process of meeting with people and plan to continue that. I plan to be as hands-on as I possibly can from my seat.
Will that process, I guess, just to follow up on some of the other questions you've been asked, will that process impact sort of the amount of help that you need to bring in for this search, or do you think it is a separate entity?
It's kind of, we'll talk to people here too, but it's sort of it's a 2-pronged thing, I think.
Thank you.
Hello, Justin Rogers, Detroit News.
Hi, Justin.
Hi, Sheila. Good to talk to you again. Sorry, the circumstances are what they are. Football players, coaches are trained one game at a time. They've been thinking the micro all along. You as an owner have an opportunity to see things from a bigger picture. How long have you been kind of moving in a direction and I guess looking at what's out there in case things did work out the way they have here?
Well, obviously, it's something that's been on my mind. Just, I want to do the right thing by this organization, and that's the bottom line. And hope that this season would have been played out differently, but it hasn't. So it just felt like, now is the time to make the change and to really begin to look forward.
And I know you said that Lance, Kyle, and others are going to be reporting to Rod for the time being. I'm just curious. I think we all understand and respect the accomplishments Rod has had on the business side and with Ford Field, but have you considered evaluating shifting power structure within the organization to more of a football-oriented president and maybe separating that role out from what Rod is currently doing?
I have no plans to change what Rod is doing. But we're looking at some organizational chart moves, and it's all going to be part of this process.
Thank you, Sheila.
All right, we'll go last question. Bob Winowski, Detroit News.
Hello,
Sheila,
Bob.
how are you?
Sorry, hello.
Oh, can you hear me? Thank
Yeah.
you. I'm interested. You obviously have a unique perspective, having been there and saw what your parents did over the years. And now that you have this huge decision to make, can you draw on that and what hasn't worked in the past, or maybe even mistakes that you thought you could see but didn't want to say anything? In other words, you have a great, vast knowledge there of what didn't work for the long term. How can that help you now? What do you think you could do different?
Well, I'm again, it's hindsight's 2020, and yes, mistakes have been made, and I'll be the first one to admit when I'm making mistakes too. I'll look at that, but I really would rather look forward and try to, really dig into what's in front of me and make this, hopefully a home run for us. But it's going to be a lot of work. Rod and I are rolling up our sleeves already, and we're going to get to work immediately.
If I could ask one follow-up, even in the pandemic, I don't know if you can say it, but cost, not an issue, even though lots of franchises have obviously lost money. Is that any concerns on your part at all?
We've done a thorough financial study of things, and I think we're prepared to handle whatever we need to handle.
Just a couple things for the group. Michael, on your question, I know there's some rumors out there about us already engaging a search firm. That's not happened. So just to clear that. And I think it's important, we didn't really touch on it, you guys didn't ask, but Sheila and I also addressed the team before this call. So the team and the coaching staff have heard directly from Sheila as well. And I think that would be important to get out there.
And also in that call with the team, we did a Zoom meeting, and Coach Bevel addressed them as well. And a couple of players spoke up in a good way. It was a good meeting.
Rod, may I just ask a clarification on speaking to the team? Were there any players or members of the team that you guys actually conferred with before making this decision? Just to
No, Jennifer, we didn't talk to any of the current players before the decision.
What was the reaction to the decision in the meeting?
Well, Dave, it's kind of hard to gauge a reaction on Zoom, as you know. But as Sheila said, several players spoke up, and it was in a very positive, let's get back to work and figure out how we're going to go beat the Bears.
Rod and Ms. Hamp, can I ask you about the Rooney Rule before you guys go?
Sure, Ken.
The Rooney Rule now.
I made the mistake of not letting this end.
Sorry, but I had to ask. The Rooney Rule now is going to executives and management too. Have you been given guidance by the league on what that process entails? And we all know about the coaching Rooney Rule. How is that going to apply with you guys now, and especially on your timetable?
Sure. So the Rooney Rule has been around, as you know, for a while, but it's been enhanced and updated. And the current requirements are for head coaching, we will need to interview 2 diverse candidates outside of our organization. And for the general manager, 1 diverse candidate from outside the organization. And to the extent that we were to fill any other executive positions, at least 1 diverse candidate. So for my job in the future, or even the head of sales and marketing or legal, at least 1 diverse candidate is required to be interviewed and given a chance to compete for the job. And we will follow the Rooney Rule, not only in its spirit, but beyond that as we search for our candidates.